Boo. Ba. Ba ba ba. Wait, can you guys hear me? Oh crap. Is my mic working? The pineapple Pepsi adverts. The siren song calls to me. Wait, can you guys hear me? The captions aren't working, which leads me to believe that indeed, okay. So you can hear me, but it's the captions. Let me fiddle around with it. The captions are the main way that I know that I'm not muted. So when they're not working, I'm just like, oh no. Oh, here we go. Exit out. Testing. Captions. What's up? Captions. Are we back? Are we back? The captions are working now. Holding position. Welcome back. Oh, yay. Allegedly. What does that mean? Allegedly. Okay. I think we back. Well, at the very least, if OBS had to crash, it's good that it was at the very beginning, right? Not smack dab in the middle. Okay, with that said though, let me do my usual thing. I'm gonna grab some water. And then we'll get started. We have a lesson today. Woo! Alright, I'll see you guys in like a minute or so. Okie dokie, we're back. And we're ready to get started. Whoa, I got a little snacky. I got a little snack. Let's go ahead and go to the main room. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Alright. Hello, everyone. Oh, I got a burp. Give me a second. Burp. Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm Babinka Bear, artist, historian, art historian, and Sunbear PNGTuber. And today, it's lesson time. It's time for you guys to submit your homework. You guys did it, right? Go ahead and start passing it to the front. I'll start collecting it in a little bit. Just kidding. No homework. No homework. Today's just more so of a lesson. We're continuing our series on art analysis, right? I was thinking today as I was prepping my like stream title, like maybe I should actually change the name of this series from "You Can Be an Art Historian" to like maybe something simpler like "You Can Look at Art." I don't know, something like that. I know it doesn't make sense to change it when we're like 3 episodes in, right? Or 4? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 not even episodes, installments in. But I was thinking about it because, like, am I really teaching you guys art history, or am I teaching you guys how to analyze art, which isn't necessarily the same thing, right? Because art history would be like me teaching you guys, like, starting at the very beginning of, like, this is this is Paleolithic, Neolithic art, and what this could mean is blah 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 blah. Because really, what I'm teaching you guys is art analysis, like how to look at art and in different ways, right? So I don't know, maybe cave painting gang. I unironically love cave paintings. I don't know quite enough about them to talk about them too much. I do know a smidge of things. Like, did you know that what's it called? Like, is it stereoscopic? Lenticular. There's like there used to be this thing where it's like a holographic thing. It's basically a GIF but IRL. If that's one way to like, you know what? I think it's better if I just like Google it for you guys. Lenticular. I need like a GIF. I need it in motion. Who got their sticker? Hi, Clyde. Hello, hello. Okay, here we go. So, you guys know what lenticular stuff is? I think this is a good GIF too. Basically, it's like, oh, it's not playing. Like, it's GIFs but in real life, and like this, right? And the way that it's done is with like grooves on the thing. So that kind of stuff. Did you know that cave paintings actually, like, there's a theory that some cave paintings were lenticular. Like, it kind of had this effect because they would only be lit by flame, by fire, by campfire. So, there's your little art history tidbit of the day. That cave paintings actually might have had this effect on them. We don't know for sure. It's just a theory, just a game theory, just an art history theory. But I think it's pretty neat. Like teaching us about Booba Venus statue. Yeah, yeah. I could, like, if that's something that's of interest to you guys. Like, maybe that's gonna be my next, educational stream, is just actually talking about art history instead of just art analysis. Because I have some stuff in the back pocket. I have some knowledge, Like, we could talk about Booba. Actually, I did say this yesterday, but this Thursday, I'm gonna be on Milky's stream. I'm gonna be at 4milks underscore stream channel. We're gonna be talking about not safe for work art history. It So far though, I like, because she didn't really ask for like a script or a slideshow or nothing. I think we're just gonna be waffling, right? We're just gonna be yapping together. Um, I'm still thinking about what to talk about because I have a lot in the back pocket about Egyptian stuff, like a lot. But it's not because I'm any kind of pervert or anything. It's just that Egyptian art just be like that. It's just there's just so much peanuts. There's there's just a lot of inappropriate stuff. Like, there. Hi, Cielo. Thanks for the pet. You came in as I was talking about Egyptian peanuts. So yeah, on Milky's stream Thursday, same time, 6:30 PST, which is like around this time. I'm gonna be on Milky's channel. We're gonna talk about some sussy wussy stuff. But I'm still really deciding what to talk about because the Egyptian stuff isn't really art history. It'd be more so like just ancient Egyptian culture. So maybe I gotta bring in some murals into into play or something like that. People always be talking about peanuts when I walk in. It's okay. It's like, there she is. Quickly, talk about the peanuts. But yeah, so I haven't quite finalized what I will talk about, but yeah, expect some risque art history. We can talk about Booba over there. We could talk about peanuts. Talk about the memories. We could talk about the many breasted god. Actually, wait. Oh god, I think it's a Minoan. Here's a little preview for you guys. I guess that's not the many. Oh no, there is. Okay, you guys want some Booba? See, this is a Minoan sculpture. It's from what I understand in so Minoan civilization. You know what? We don't have any music. We don't have any music. What are we playing today? We listened to 88 Rising yesterday. I still kind of like. I might want to still listen to 88 Rising. But let me see if there's any alternatives. Could go vaporwave. Let's go vaporwave. Yeah, let's go with the vaporwave playlist. There you go. Gotta mix it up. Talk about vaginas. We could talk about vaginas. 7 vaginas, maybe more. Think about it. But if you guys don't know what the Minoan civilization is, it's one of like the earlier ones back in like the Greek peninsula. And here we have the snake goddess, I want to say, because she's holding these two snakes and she has her booba out. And apparently, from my understanding, in this civilization, women had no problem showing the booba, but they had every problem with showing the ankles. They thought that it was improper to show the ankles, which is why she's wearing this really long dress, right? And then there's also another statue that I remember. I didn't really study, but I just remember seeing it in the art histories. Here we go. She got the mini booba, not the sought after mega booba, but the mini booba. You know, quantity or quality. I think that's the main question here. So yeah, that's see, we didn't even start our like talk yet, and I'm already yapping about such things. But yeah, how's stuff? How are y'all doing? My relatives, or rather, Beans's relatives, they're in Europe. They're in Europe now. I guess I was like kind of worried, like, with all the stuff about like Boeing air. I don't think they were on a Boeing, but I was just like, I just really hope that they first of all get to their destination, and then they were like, I know they were stressing out about like catching another flight after a layover. So I'm glad that like I think they made it. They're at their destination. Pretty excited for what they're gonna see. But like I said, that also means that me and Beans, we got the place to ourselves. There are no rules, which means I can cook without too much anxiety. Because usually, like, it's not even that his family like hounds me or anything. They're very supportive of like me cooking, but I just get kind of bashful. Like, I can't cook while being watched. I guess kind of. I think if it's Beans, then it's fine. But like when other people are in the kitchen with me, I get stressed out easily. So I was able to cook today, or I helped Beans cook today. We made rice and we made. Have you guys heard of tocino? I don't know if I don't know if that's like exclusively Filipino or if it's also like a Latin American thing as well. Tocino. Here you go. Look like this. Bacon? Tocino is bacon. Oh, really? Oh, in Espanol. Tostino's pizza rolls, huh? That doesn't sound too bad actually. If there was a vegan version for beans, I'd be super down. We did make pigs in a blanket. Not today, but like in the past, we've made vegan pigs in a blanket that were pretty good. Yeah, so this is tocino. This is like I guess like you see the translation here, Filipino cured pork. It looked like this, but we tried to make a vegan version with tofu and it didn't quite turn out the best, but we are learning from our mistakes and I think we know how to proceed from here on out. It's really good, especially with like fried rice or like garlic fried rice. Man, it's kind of sweet too. That's the thing. It's like cured pork and it has this like red color to it. Tocino beans bacon. Ah, you can cook any meat as tocino as long as yeah, it's a sweet sauce. Um, what's actually in it? That's the question. Homemade pork tocino. Tocino recipe. Here we go. Oh yeah, you eat it with like tomato and like some veg, like cucumbers as well. But it's for me, I like it best with rice. So, you get brown sugar, salt, garlic, soy sauce, vinegar. I don't know if I've ever had it with fruit juice. But yeah, just those things together. You just marinate the meat. You fry it, and it's really good. So we tried to do that with tofu. We've had it before because we have like a mix. We have like a tocino like mix packet ready to go. We tried it with mushrooms. That's actually a really good move. Is like just get the seasonings, you know, in a pouch and just like marinate mushrooms in it. You got yourself some nice cured mushrooms. That is really good. We tried it. For me, I'm a big texture person. Are you guys like texture like does texture affect your food experience at all, or are you picky according to texture? Because if your loved one are vegan, then tofu is usually a substitute, right, for your protein. But for me, I don't like the texture of like tofu unless it's been like treated in a way. Um, what here's the hack: if you guys ever have to like cook tofu, and you want it to have like the same texture as chicken, here's the hack. You first of all, you like take it out of the little packet, right? You drain the liquids. You could press it if you want. Some people have like a tofu presser, but you could also just use like some heavy books as long as you'd like have a I mean, don't put the books directly over it, otherwise the water's gonna seep into the books. So you want like a chopping board or something on top. Then you put some heavy books. You press out all the water. Or here's another hack: you could cut it into pieces, put it in the freezer, put it in the freezer for a bit, let it freeze, and then put it in the microwave. Don't let it thaw. Just put it in the microwave. And it helps if you have a dish underneath to collect all the water that like comes out when it gets microwaved. And by doing that, you get all of the moisture out of the tofu, and it has like a spongy chicken-like texture. We tried it before. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a good hack. That way you can cook. Then just like look up any recipe of choice, um, and then just replace your protein with tofu, and it's good. It's like chicken. It's really good. But it does take a while. So today we weren't able to do that whole process because we were just hungry right away. Because the only thing I had to eat today was like bulldog noodles. So, which is also good, but you know that was not even breakfast. It was like brunch, and then for early dinner we made the tocino, the tostinos. But when we're feeling lazy, we also get the microwavable stuff too, or like we have an air fryer, so so that's like the ultimate lazy hack. If you feel like being lazy in your household, get an air fryer. It's so easy to just pop something in and just like, you know, wait a couple minutes and ding, it's ready. You know, you could do French fries easily with that. Um, when we're super lazy, this is gonna make us sound like hooligans. We're gonna sound like super lazy hooligans. So you just get like an impossible beef patty, pop that baby in the air fryer, boom. Okay, so the ad break is gonna start in. Oh no, it was snoozed. It's okay. The next time the ad break starts, we could keep it going. We can keep it going. Yeah, the air fryer works wonders. I love it. I love it. Somehow we keep circling back to food, but that's okay. That's okay. I think I'm just constantly hungry. But yeah. That was the recipe of the day. I think other than that, I was chatting earlier with Big Ham. I was in Big Ham's stream earlier. She was talking about Anime Expo, and I'm getting more and more excited. I wasn't even planning on going this year because it's so crowded. It's so bad, but I'm getting excited. A lot of artists are posting what they're going to be selling at Anime Expo. I mean, as a bear that eats food, it's natural to discuss food. It's true. It's true. I do love the salmon, right? I like it raw. I like it cooked. I like it fried. Oh man, like whatever you could do with the salmon, I will devour it, even if it's actually spam in the shape of salmon. Salmon. Um, I do miss spam though. That's one thing I do. Because thinking about we used to have all these kitchen gadgets, but we eventually like decluttered. We did the Marie Kondo thing where it was like, do we really use this? Does it spark joy? And we got rid of the the tofu press. We also used to have a little like plastic thing to make spam musubi. It's basically just like a shaper. Like it's literally just a piece of rectangular plastic that you can like put the rice in there and it'll make it rectangular. The spam doesn't really need to like it's already kind of in that shape. So like you just put like slices of spam on top and then you wrap it with the seaweed and you're golden. You love Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salam. Salman Al Saud? Is that what spam is named after? I'm a sucker for spam. I love it. I kind of miss it. I think there's plant-based spam, but I've never had it. I tried to order some off of Amazon. That's the thing. I tried to order some and it just never arrived. I asked for a refund. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but but I remember like I ordered it, kind of forgot about it, and then realized like it's been like weeks since I last heard from the spam people, from the vegan spam people on the Amazons. I think I'm just gonna cancel that order. And I just didn't try to. You know what? Maybe I can try right now. Oh no, I have to log into like my personal account. You guys can't be seeing that. You guys can't be getting your kayfabe breaks, your immersion breaks. For all you know, I live in the forest and I forage for my own spam. I I keep it hidden like Randon hides his rice, right? Like I just bury some spam out in the woods. And the day that I decide that I don't want to be pescatarian anymore, it'll be ready. It'll be ready for me to make a fresh little spam musubi. Cause that's one thing I miss. Another one is I realize how like privileged I am in a way in that I live in a place that has a lot of like different cuisines from all over the world. How many of you guys have had Hawaiian food before? I've never been to Hawaii, but I love Hawaiian food. Or rather, okay, I'm gonna show you guys this. You guys had this Moco Loco? Oh, so good. Hello, Mega Bronson. We're chatting about food before we get started. But I was just talking about food that I kind of miss since going pescatarian. Moco Loco is one of them. But, I found out, or rather, Beans found out that there is a vegan joint. Somewhere like it's not in our immediate area, but it's like you do gotta travel about an hour or 45 minutes or so. But there is a vegan spot that has vegan Moco Loco, and I'm like, that is wild because like how do you? Well, okay, the burger patty. So here's what it is for those unfamiliar: rice with gravy, a burger patty, and then an egg on top. Mocha Loco is delicious. Yeah, yeah. I saw and I want to learn how they made their egg. There is something called Just Egg. My dad, who's also vegan, he swears by it. He loves it. But I don't know how they did this because this is obviously a fried egg, and Just Egg comes in like a bottle, like, and it's very obviously like you can make this right. Okay, so we have an ad break coming up soon. We're gonna let that one play, and then we'll get started. But it looks like exactly Mega Bronson. That's why I'm also confused. Because look, see, you can make scrambled eggs pretty easily. But how did they wait, go back. Go back. No, too far back. How did they do this, right? Like how did they do that? Can you imagine it's like the South Park episode? Like it's not even vegan. They just put an egg. They just put an actual egg. But no, I think Bean said that like you could taste it in the flavor and the texture that it wasn't real egg. So this so good. I miss it. I miss it so much. So that you know what? This one has mushrooms. Oh, that looks so good. It looks so good. So if there's a way to veganize this, I'm down. You know what? I think there's a way to vegetize it at the very least, right? Because I'm pesca. Like I can still have egg and dairy. So all you need is like an um impossible patty, right? Put some egg, get rice and gravy. You're golden. The gravy is usually a mushroom gravy. I love all types of gravy. So anything like that sounds delish. But yeah, I love that. I can't wait to figure out the place that like has the vegan version. And really quick, I don't know when the ad break is gonna start up. I was gonna talk about to this tweet that I saw that was like, it's just the egg and I can veganify it. Oh, there we go. So we have our ad break. I'm gonna go ahead and take a sip of my wawa. I'm gonna snack as well, and then we'll be back with our lesson. All right, I'll see you guys in about 45 seconds. Alright, I think we're back. I'm gonna be real with you. This song immediately kind of turned me off to the rest of the Vaporwave album, so it's good, but it's like the repetition. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over it for now. So I'm gonna put on a Vaporwave artist that I like a lot called Luxury Elite. There we go. And I think we can go ahead and get started. So I don't know how long we're gonna go for today because this is actually like shorter than my usual art analysis lessons. Um, but I'm gonna see if we can pad out the time with a couple of activity. Well, not really activities, but some interactive, some like other media type things that we could do. One of them is we're gonna look at some 3D models together. The other thing is I might pop up the hand cam, which I will need a little bit of time to prep. So we might go on like a little bit of a break midway through. But we'll see how long we can go for today. We'll see. So yeah, wait, let me stretch. So yeah, this is the fourth installment of You Can Be an Art Historian. Name pending, I guess. Name change pending. I might actually change the name based off our conversation a little earlier. But this is all based off of like certain ideas in studying art. Um Last time we went over shapes. And I tried to do a twofer. I tried to cover both shape and form at the same time, but I was like, no, I feel like form does need its own installment, right? So we talked about shapes last time. And before that we talked about lines, and before that it was just kind of like an introduction. This time we're gonna focus on form. And form is basically shapes but 3D. In a nutshell, if all of that sounded like jargon and it's like, what is she yapping about? We're gonna look at 3D stuff today. So I hope you guys enjoy. We have a little guy here, right? Oh, look at my laser pointer. So yeah, we're gonna focus on forms, but we could do a little bit of review. So, like I said, last time we looked at lines and shapes. And these lines and shapes, especially when you see them in art, they can communicate different ideas. So, stuff like square shapes or straight lines, whether they're like horizontal or vertical, usually these communicate the idea of being stable or solid. We even had like I wish I included it here, but like a cute picture of Kirby, like Kirby but circular, Kirby but square shape, Kirby but triangle shape, right? And it was stuff like if Kirby was a square, just like a perfect square, he'd be a very stable guy, right? Like very, very solid, like a rock, basically. Something that you could depend on. Whereas things that are round, so like circles or like curvy lines like this, they could imply comfort or cuteness. So if you think about Kirby, once again, he's by default he's a circular guy. He's a cute little guy, right? And he looks like the kind of guy that if you poke him in the cheek, it'll squish, right? Because actually I'll get to that at the very end. But so round shapes, curvy lines, comforting cuteness, square shapes and straight lines, stable and solid, and lastly shapes with sharp angles. So like this triangle over here, or zigzags, like zigzag lines like that. They're super dynamic, but they can also be dangerous. So, what do I mean by that? The thing is with like all of these, for one, keep in mind that any of these rules can be broken. So, like, just because someone uses only triangles in their artwork doesn't mean that it can't be cute and adorable, right? Or that it can't be stable, right? It really depends on how they use it, but these are kind of just based off of things we see in nature. So, for example, if you see like a large horizontal line in nature, usually that's something like the horizon. Um, and that means that if you can see the horizon, especially like I want you to imagine that you're sitting at a lake, right? You're on the pier of a lake. The water is calm, right? So if you can see the horizon and it's straight, that implies that the water is super calm. Whereas if it was like a stormy night and the waves were like swishing and swashing, you wouldn't be able to see the horizon. So, that then it doesn't feel as calm and as relaxed. Um Whereas, let's see, think of something that is like round in real life, right? Or not in real life, but like think of something that's round in nature, right? Like things that are round are usually something that like a baby's head or like, big old anime eyes. What else is round in nature? I guess maybe not the sun is round, but that doesn't quite fit the bill, right? Well, I guess the sun can be comforting, but things that are round are definitely like if you were to touch them, usually they would be like squishy or nice to the touch. So they're safe. They're comfortable. They're cute. And if you think of things in nature that are sharp with zigzags, right? It might be like a cactus spine or like the needles of a cactus or like what else is super or sharp rocks on like the ocean, right? So if you collide with them, you're going to get hurt. So like I said, these rules aren't hard and fast, but they're kind of based off of things we see in nature. So that's why like our brain kind of like just kind of naturally leads to that. Like things that are sharp, dangerous. Things that are round, safe. Things that are square and straight, stable and solid. So that's kind of like the basics of the last two lessons. And we kind of just looked at different examples from different cultures and like stuff like anime and manga and stuff like that. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into forms. This is the same slide from last time as well. Forms are, like I said, the same as shapes, but they're 3D. They're three dimensional. They're coming right at you. And it's stuff like this. So, for example, like a square, if you add an extra dimension to it, it becomes a cube. A circle can become like a this isn't a cone. What is this? A cylinder or an orb. You know, little orby guy. And then triangles, they can become pyramids or they can become cones. I didn't have an image for cones here, but yeah, basically. So these are three dimensional, right? And just like with shapes, these forms they can be geometric like this, or they can be what's called organic. And organic just means like shapes that you see like in real life, like leaves, clouds, that kind of stuff. This is pretty much the same slide as before, but all you need to know is that like we're looking at 3D stuff. So let's actually look at those 3D things. Whoa! Got you with the GIF. I used Giphy for this presentation, so I added some little animated GIFs with me. So now, with forms, you can see different sides of something. So as you can see in this GIF over here, we have like circles and squares and triangles, but they're moving around, and it's kind of fooling your brain into thinking like, oh yeah, I'm seeing like different sides of this shape over here. And a really quick aside is 4D because I still don't understand it, but at the very least, I wanted to I guess introduce this just as like a little thought experiment. So we are actually going to watch a little bit of this video called 4D Toys. I think it's a tool actually. Let's watch it on YouTube together. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I just wanted to get into like this whole conversation about like 2D, 3D, 4D. What does it actually mean? So this actually helped me kind of understand it. So we're going to skip right to this section. Here you go. Wait. Let's go to here. Okay. So this guy's just kind of playing around with like different 4D toys. Um and it takes our brain a little bit to really comprehend it, but he first tries to explain it by looking at 2D versus 3D. All right? So I'm just going to go ahead and play this part. This isn't going to be on the test, by the way. Also, there is no test. Look at this part over here. Yeah, see? It's here, but it's gone. Okay, so just that part. Did you guys kind of understand? Because it did take me a while to really understand it. But this helped me kind of visualize it where like, yeah, this little 2D guy, he like where is it? This part over here where it's like, oh, the red circle's like floating, it's not touching the air. But if you go over here, you see that it's part of like the 3D object that is touching the ground, but it's like the cross section of it doesn't I don't know. Like it's the part that's not touching the ground. So it's basically that's like the difference between 2D and 3D, right? And once again, you don't have to know all of this to understand art. It's just more of like a like, oh, I found this cool video and if I have to go through it, you have to go through it. So that's 2D and 3D. Now the rest is like looking at 4D from that same perspective because this is the part where I don't get. If you were to ask me like, Miss Teacher, Miss Babinka, can you explain 4D? I'd be like, nope, I cannot. But you know, just for laughs, let's take a look at it. See, my brain's already broken. Like I get it conceptually, but I don't understand what I'm looking at. Like what's a hypersphere? What's a hypercube? I don't understand. Okay. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all that I wanted to show cuz like I said, I just thought it was interesting like the way he talks about 2D versus 3D understandable and then once you pull it into 4D, I get it conceptually. It's the same as like the 2D 3D thing, but I my brain is just broken. And like you said it's also because we live in a 3D universe. So like it's just hard to like pull it back and see what the entire picture is. But all of that to say, it's a good thing we don't have to incorporate that in art, but you know, maybe in the future. I think we briefly talked about this in a the Artrageous collab with Owen where we're talking about like oh art started to get kind of weird after the advent of photography, right? So like because of photography a lot of artists at that time were like oh dang like the whole point of art before this was to like recreate what we see IRL in real life. And now with the touch of a button you could just take a photo and I mean back then it would take like hours to develop that photo, but still like it did still like give this kind of existential crisis of like, well, now what do we do? So that's when you see like artists try to do like stranger things, not not in any way related to that Netflix show, but they're just doing things like, what if we did you know, cubism, cubism, which is like try to depict different perspectives, but in one painting. I feel like okay, the thing is, like, there's also some AI slop in here. You can already tell, but let's do Picasso, specifically Picasso. Geez, like some of the here. This is freaking AI. This is a good one. The Weeping Woman. Let's zoom in a little bit. So like it looks kind of messy, right? But what Picasso was trying to do, I think we talked about this last time as well. What Picasso was trying to do is try to like depict a woman but in different perspectives at the same time. So like this is clearly like a profile, but having both eyes here makes it seem like she's looking at us head on. So he's trying to kind of like play with perspective in that way. Kind of like what's going on with the whole 4D 3D thing that we were just looking at in the video. So a part of me is like, well, now we're starting to get into a second kind of existential crisis because of AI art. At the push of a button, this machine which has scraped the work of actual artists is now able to create art on its own. So like, how can art do something that like AI cannot do? So in that regard, I do wonder if people are gonna start exploring stuff like 4D, 4D art. It's this like video itself, like the 4D toys, is already kind of like an interesting look at that. But yeah, that's one way that you can experiment with form. It's a bit theoretical, it's a bit out there, but let's go ahead and look at other ways that we can talk about form. Sorry, let me mute for a second. I got too excited. I got too excited and I choked on my own spit again. Okay. So as I was making this lesson, I was trying to think of I guess like how did I learn about form? Because like I'm gonna be real with you guys, I'm not really an expert with like 3D art at all. I do kind of teach a little bit of 3D art, not computer art, but like clay in my day job. But I'm not the best at it. So it's not something that I'm super confident in, but I do remember learning about this in my art history classes when I was still learning, and it was looking at forms. So far we had learned with like shapes and lines that like, oh yeah, curvy is comfortable, and straight and square is like stable, all that stuff. So does that apply to forms? Yes, it can. It definitely can. But another thing that kind of puts a wrench in that that kind of messes with that is, here we go. So analyzing forms can be very similar to shapes and lines in that regard, but the shape also depends on things like the material, like what's it made out of, and even culture. So I want to talk about something called contrapposto. I'm not pronouncing that right, but contrapposto. This is one of those things that if you take like an art history 101 class, like they go over this. Like for sure this is a vocab word. So this is a vocab word for you guys, Babin Cubs. It's gonna be on the test. There is no test, but it's just something to know. So contrapposto is basically this idea of when you stand, you don't have to do it right now, but like when you stand up, let's say that you're waiting in line for Anime Expo or or a con. Do you always stand with an equal amount of weight on both feet, on both heels? Do you usually stand like that? Or do you usually shift your weight over so it's on one foot? You can answer that if you want, but if you guys are also lurking, no worries at all. But basically, that's what contrapposto is this idea of shifting your weight, or not necessarily shifting your weight, but showing art that has people shifting their weight on one foot. And it's like, well, what's the big deal? Like, shifting your weight on one, what's the big deal with that? To answer that, let's look at this art over here. We have some Egyptian art, ancient Egyptian art. This is King Menkaure and Queen. This is all the way back to 2490 BCE, 20472 BCE. That's before the Common Era. So that's not 2,000 years ago. That's 2,000 years before the year one. So this is actually around like 4,000, 5,000 years old. Super old. It's made out of a material called greywacke, which I don't know that much about, but I'm gonna assume it's a rock. so it's a kind of rock. I didn't really look into the size. That's kind of one of my weaknesses when I was first studying art history, is like I didn't really pay attention to the sizes. So this might be life size. It's not in freedom units, so I don't know. But if anyone here who doesn't use freedom units can tell me, you'd be like, "What are you, dumb? That's way over. Like that's way below. Or that's way over life size." So here we have these two figures here. These are two Egyptian figures. This is a king and his queen. Look at how they're standing. Look at how they're standing. So, first of all, he has both of his fists. His hands are like curled up into fists, and they're right at his side. He also has his 2 feet straight out. One leg is forward, so you can assume that maybe there's a little bit of weight there. But otherwise, he's very symmetrical. You notice that? very symmetrical, like down to the headdress, to his hands. The only asymmetry you really see is like his I want to say skirt. What would you call this? His loincloth, as well as the one leg that's like extended this way. Her, on the other hand, she's also mostly symmetrical except for her arm, which is like one is wrapped around his waist and then one is right here. And then her foot is also slightly out. But for the most part, she is also very symmetrical. All right. In a lot of Egyptian art, you see this. You see a lot of focus on symmetry. You see a lot of focus on basically stability. And to really, really nail in that point, we're going to look at the first of our many, there we go, 3D models. So we have this really cool website called Sketchfab. I've used it before for work where, look, you see this image of Menkaure and his wife. Well, guess what? Angles. You can see all the different angles of this piece of artwork. I can rotate it, get rotated. If you want to do this at your own pace, I'm also going to put it in the chat real quick. Here you go. So yeah, if you also want to like play around with it, all you have to do is I think left, but here's a guide actually. Get rotated. Thank you, Matthew. So yeah, if you also want to like navigate this on your own, so you could orbit around using left click, or if you're on a tablet, you can just use one finger drag. If you want to zoom in, you could use your scroll wheel on the mouse, or you could pinch in. And then if you want to pan around it, you could right click, or you could use two fingers to drag. So, sorry, I burped. So I'm using left to like rotate it around, right click to pan it like that, and then the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So you can do the same if you want to follow along. So here's that statue we're looking at, right? Very, very symmetrical, very stable. But what I want to kind of draw your attention to is look at how like the back is attached to like this kind of back piece, right? Oh, thank you for pinning it. Thank you. So I want to ask you, let's assume that this is made out of a kind of stone, and in order to make art out of stone, you have to chisel it away. Kind of like that SpongeBob meme where he kind of just does like the little dink and it like turns into like a whole sculpture, right? But you have to assume that someone sculpted out of this. Now, can you kind of see, especially if I do it like this, can you kind of see how this person probably started with a huge, just rectangular slab of rock and then chiseled away at it, right? So you can kind of tell that this is all chiseled out of one entire piece. Even the openings, like underneath the legs, it's still kind of attached to the rock. It's all one single piece. So like there's no gaps. There's no gaps here where the legs are. There's no gaps here. It's all a single piece. And you see this a lot in Egyptian art, and of course there's exceptions. It depends on time and place, but especially in like the early days, you see a lot of this. You see a lot of like, it's all out of one piece of stone, and there's this focus on it being stable. I want you to remember that, all right? Stable, stable, stable. There's a focus on it being stable so that it will be, parts of the statue are less likely to break off, right? Because they're all attached to this one piece of stone. Less likely to break off, and therefore eternal. Because one thing that I want you guys to remember about Egyptian culture is that in many Egyptian religions, the belief is that your soul is eternal so long as it has a vessel still on earth. That's why they mummified their dead, especially if you could afford it. But like even the poorest of Egyptians, they would still bury their loved ones out in the desert so that the body would dry up and it wouldn't deteriorate, it wouldn't decay. So there's still a vessel for your soul. The rich would become mummified, right? And the royalty, they would become mummified. So they'd be preserved through like the process of mummification. So, and if the body happened to decay, at the very least have like a statue of yourself. Have something that is eternal. Because if you don't, your soul will evaporate away and you'll become nothingness. It's almost like the scene in Coco where like, oh, if you forget about someone, if no one on earth remembers you, then you're going to fade away. And that's like the true death, right? So I want you to remember that. Like, there's a focus on stability. There's a focus on eternity, especially with early Egyptian culture. So all of that to say, let's go ahead and compare it to this guy over here. This dashing figure with no clothing on. This is Doryphoros of Polykleitos. Polykleitos is, I believe, the artist. This is actually a marble statue, and it was made in the Roman times, but it's modeled after a Greek bronze. Actually, a lot of Roman art would do this. You know, there's this idea of like, oh, the Romans were just copying the Greeks. In many ways, yes, but there were also some things that were completely original to the Romans. You know, like their government and some parts of their culture and the god Janus. You know, but there are a lot of things that they did copy from Greek tradition. So, contra posting on a Tuesday, my dudes. Hello, Milky. Hello, hello. We were just talking about how like in Egypt, you know, they focused on like eternity. So that's why this statue is just all out of one piece of stone. You know, there's no gaps, so nothing is likely to fall or break off. But if you compare that to this guy over here, look at so he has the contrapposto. He has all of his weight shifted on one foot over here. And it looks more natural. In fact, let's look at a 3D model of this guy. See, we have the same we just gotta wait for the textures to load. There we go. You got a butt! So, here, he looks a lot more natural. He has the contrapposto. You can tell that he has his weight all on one foot, as opposed to the Egyptian couple, which like they're very symmetrical. It's very obviously like if they were real people standing, then they are balancing their weight on both feet. Whereas here, it's on one foot and it looks more natural. This looks like a dude. Like this looks like an actual guy that would be hanging around in the I don't know, in the marketplace, in the ancient Greek marketplace, right? So you can also see here that his arms are free. They're not attached to stone in the back like the Egyptian one was. There is this, by the way. Sometimes you'll see in Greek and Roman art, there's just gonna be a weird mystery branch for whatever reason. Not for whatever reason. It's to basically add a little bit of stability. If that wasn't there, this statue could easily just topple over. You know, so that's there for a reason, for stability. But as you can see, this is so much more free. Like this isn't attached to anything in the back, right? So, I don't know if that gap is because of the 3D model. I think there's a gap here. There's a gap. There is this though. So there's a reason why there's a little like stick here. Sad I can't pose like that Egyptian couple with Randon, arms too short. I mean, yeah, that's another thing. Look at the anatomy here. Very long arms. You actually can't see the back of her arm, of the arm that's like around his waist. That would be a fun art idea if you guys want to draw yourself with your Oshi like this, like the Egyptian couple. The supports, I'm familiar with 3D printing. Exactly, Matthew. So wonderful that you said that. These are supports over here. And basically they're there because if they're not, this arm could snap clean off. So, American Gothic, but Milky and Rendon would be funny. Wait, that would be a funny idea. So, here's the thing. It looks more natural, right? It looks more realistic. However, I'm going to show you another famous piece of art from... Here we go. Venus de Milo. It's a pretty infamous piece of artwork, right? Let's go ahead and look at the image here. What do you notice about her arms? They're gone! She's got no arms. In fact, in a lot of Greek and Roman sculpture, where they have the contrapposto, where they have this, you'll find a lot of missing limbs. And that's because it's almost like the opposite of the Egyptian one. Because it's not anchored to like any kind of backing, because it's not like securely supported by like a stone behind it. It's kind of free flowing. They're old. Well, that too. They are old. but to be fair, this is like over 5,000, 4 to 5,000 years old as well, and yet it's still kind of intact. I know this is a 3D model, but like even the original statue is also intact. Check art appreciation or your DMs. I will in a little bit. They got pillaged. Well, that too. A lot of ancient Egyptian tombs also got pillaged. So, a lot of it is like, it's not necessarily that I guess this is the difference. Why a lot of these statues are missing arms is because it's more likely they will be missing arms because the limbs are more free flowing. Like if you look at this, for example, so like the arms are more free flowing. So like all it takes is this statue toppling over, and the arms are gone, right? Whereas if this statue were to topple over, do you think it will be as likely for the arms to detach? Because edible mummies, no. I know. But I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that like if this were to topple over, yes, maybe this part of like the head, maybe the heads might detach, but everything else is secure to this backing stone. And once again, it's because of this whole idea of like eternity. Everything has to be within not necessarily one piece, but like it has to be preserved for years to come. And it kind of worked, right? Things were preserved for thousands of years. I realize I haven't been playing music this entire time. Here we go. Let's put the vaporwave back. Hello, Zaka. What do you think the mummy bile they drink tasted like? Could you imagine thousands of years old liquid? Wait, that's water. The mystery mummy juice. But yeah. Welcome, welcome. We are now talking about form, so like 3D stuff. We're gonna be looking at some 3D art, or we kind of are already. So, for example, this is the Doriforos or Doriforos. So if you look here, this statue, you might be able to hear Schnackery in the background. You see this arm over here? If this were to topple, the arm might come off. This one, not so much because he has that attachment over here. And then this like webbing over here is actually part of it's because of the 3D modeling, it's not in the actual statue. So yeah, that's another look at like how these statues don't just differ because of the material, they differ also because of like the culture. So like I said, Egyptian is more so on stability, whereas like here, Greek and Roman and eventually with like Renaissance, the focus is a little bit more on like showing things more realistically, showing things more like naturalistically, because there's this it's a whole thing basically, but it the focus is more so on like the human body show like being shown as natural as it can be, or idealized. Actually, that's another thing, is idealized. Answer the question. It's art history related. Which question? That's how you end up with pillarmen or dead archaeologists. But yeah, so that's one thing. Like I said, material and even culture. It sometimes it depends on what the we talked about this too with medieval art, right? Like if you went back in time to like medieval times and you were commissioned to make like art of Jesus and you gave them like a hyper realistic portrait of Jesus, they'd be like, this is not what I asked for. I was looking for something that was super symbolic, super simple for the masses to understand, you know? So that's kind of the idea here, is like the forms do also depend on like a little bit of the culture, a little bit of the context of the time. So yeah, that's just one example. I do have a couple more from other examples. Look at this little guy. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of some of these thingies. So yeah, we have a couple of other ones, and I'll actually let you guys choose a couple. For example, I want to show you guys this one of my favorite cultures to look at is called the Moche culture, because they have amazing ceramics. And actually, let me do some last minute research here, because Moche is like, it's like South America, but I want to see like specifically where again. Northern Peru. Northern Peru. So yeah, so we have these ceramics from like northern Peru. And I've always been such a big fan of these ceramics ever since like I was starting out as like a small art history baby. Because how do I get into this conversation? So there's this idea in especially like Western art history of like, oh, if you can't make something photorealistic or natural looking or like hyper realistic, then like the art of that culture is like it's basically like it's an old fashioned thing, but a lot of like, Western scholars at the time were like, oh, they can't make stuff that's like photorealistic, so therefore they're savages, they're barbarians, you know? So I think what I like about moche art is that it kind of goes against that idea of like, sure, it's not hyper realistic, but like, look at some of this art. It's like this face over here. Let's wait for the textures to load. Like this looks like the actual face of someone that existed, right? It's not a general face. It looks like it's based off of someone. So I think that's why I really like moche art, but I also like moche art because they have a lot of little guys. There's a lot to choose from. So there's like a fat owl over here. This is also another one that I really like looking at. And we have an owl. We have a little jaguar. I actually don't know if that's a jaguar or not. these are both unrelated. We got an owl. We have a frog. You guys want to see the forg? Little minion, of course, that's moche. Could be dragons. I think we're starting to get into like non-moche art, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys some of these ones as well. I actually got the opportunity to see. Let me wait for the textures to load. There we go. I had the opportunity to see one of a vessel like this IRL at one of the museums I used to work at. They're really nice, but also like look at just the amount of detail on this. So first of all, these are what's called like stirrup vessels because they resemble. Do you guys know what a stirrup is? Let me go ahead and Google that for you. It's like the thing for like a horse. Here you go. So like when you're riding a horse, there are these little things that you use to support your feet, so they're not just dangling. So that's a stirrup, right? These are called stirrup vessels because they kind of resemble it. They don't actually have anything to do with horse stirrups, but it's just more of like it's one of those like, oh, the Western scholars saw it and it reminds me of this thing. So yeah. But basically these would be used to hold water or other kinds of liquids. So it could be ceremonial liquids, it could be any kind of stuff really. And they have these. Sometimes they have like a multiple number of spouts, but sometimes it does this thing where it like it's two and it like collects into one. Let me actually see this one. There we go. So yeah, see it's two spouts, but then they kind of connect into one, right? I love this one. He's just a little guy. Let me exit out of this. So these are both moche. Hello, Viteheit. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. We're looking at some 3D little guys now. Oh, Milky, you also got your sticker. Everyone get your stickers if you haven't already. Get your sniffer stickers. Let's see. Whoa! it like glitched out a little bit. Oh, if you guys want to see this for yourself, I keep forgetting to like link these 3D models. But here, I'll link this one so you can check it out for yourself. There's some annotations here that kind of like tell us a little bit more about this vessel. So if you look really carefully over here, for example, you have a figure with like a hat that by today's standards might look like a gesture hat, but that might be something ceremonial for them. And if you click on the annotation, it says priest. So whoever created this, oh, it's from the Cultural Heritage Innovation. Very nice. The replica stirrup spout ceramic vessel with the fine line decoration, unique to Mochi Society of North Peru, according to some archaeology specialists, depicts a burial of an important figure in Moche society. So yeah, we whoever either modeled this or like whichever organization like has this in their collection, they determined that this could be like a priest. He is sitting on some kind of altar, right? If you guys want, you can also put it to practice like some of the things that we learned in other installments. There's definitely a lot of lines here, right? Like there's some straight lines, a couple of like diagonals. We see some shapes as well, like these little tiny shapes that are here to kind of fill up space. There's some really cool shapes here too. The black blob in the middle looks like a cat nose. I want to see the black blob. Oh, this one, right? The What could be this guy's hat? It reminds me of a kitty cat nose too. I love it. You know what? There's a good amount of like cat depictions. I don't know if it's in moche art. Hold on, give me a second. There's a cat called like the Pampas cat in art. Square bowl with Pampas cat. Oh, the Met has one. Look. The Met has this little guy. And it's Moche. It's Moche. A little kitty cat. Yeah, there's some good shapes here. So it says that this is a priest. He looks like he's standing on like a platform, right? It looks like stairs. There's someone right in front of him. We don't know what that figure is, but you know, if it could be someone that is like either helping the priest or like requesting something of the priest. We don't know for sure, right? Let's see what's going on here. A dancer. So let's see what hints that this could be a dancer. They're holding something. So this looks like it could be something that like it could be a pole or some kind of like instrument that like if you shake it probably makes like a sound, kind of like maracas. They also have a headdress. This could be their face or it could be a mask. I actually don't know. This is actually my first time like really analyzing this, but I've seen moche art before, but I've never really analyzed it like this before. This is a really cool face. Look at that. This person is kind of like on their side, so I wonder if this is like depicting a burial. Could be a priest. Yeah. Could be a priest because they do have that headdress. The texture isn't loaded here for some reason, but it looks like a bird head too, which kind of does remind me of like this priest figure here. Aye, they're twerking. It's a sacred dance, you know. It's the twerking dance. They're doing the ocho ocho. So since the description said that this could be a burial, this figure does, you know, it's horizontal, right? So this could be the figure that is at rest. And this doesn't really look like, this looks more like a mask to me than an actual face. So I wonder if this is like a death mask, right? That you put over someone after they've passed away. What does this say? More priests. So we have more priests here. And it looks like we have like different like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe these are 6 priests. It's over this horizontal figure, so if we assume it's a dead body, maybe these are the priests that are kind of like leading the funeral, so to speak. Archaeologists in the year 3000. The Ocho Ocho is a ritualistic dance. It is though, isn't it? And the little twerk emotes. It's a what's it called? It's to find a mate. It's a mating ritual, right? Ooh, this is a cool figure. This one could also be dancing. Wait, look. These look like serpent heads. What does this say? Dancer? Yeah, look. I think these are both dancers over here. Because this one has the same mask as the one that we saw under. And this one, they could either be wearing a certain type of clothing, but to me this looks more like paint. Like body paint or face paint. Not the Ocho Ocho. Ocho Ocho Ocho. What's this one? Aipike God. Ah, this could be a deity. Very cool. Whoa. This looks like something's happening like this looks like a vaginal, I want to say. What's like, you know, the word phallic is like, I guess what's it called? Like academic word for peanuts. I forget what the word is for like vagina. Vaginal, I guess. But it kind of resembles that, so I wonder if this is like some kind of like fertility thing going on. But yeah, all of this is like super rich in imagery. And this is, you know, can you imagine that this might have just been used to like drink water? It could also be something more ritualistic though. It could be like, you know, alcohol is one of those things that like if you think of any kind of drug or substance or like alcohol, you know, you could use it to enjoy yourself, sure, but it in lots of cultures they would also use it to kind of like kind of enter like a trance state. Like how do I say this? Like a trance state or something like for them, for people that believe in it, it's a state that gets you closer to the gods, right? So any state in which you're not your normal state, that could be interpreted as like, oh, I'm now I can talk to the gods, I can talk to the spirits, I can talk to the ancestors. So, it's totally normal to see things like alcohol being used in this context. Love me the horror vacui designs. Yeah, like there's no like negatives, like there's no empty space. Everything is like filled to the brim with like detail. I love it too. This is one of my favorite like moche vessels. And then on the opposite side of things, this is also moche, but there's not as much design, but it's also a little guy. It's also a little guy. Oh, no hablo español, pero let's see how much we can also, I think I have I don't have it here. I have Deep L on my other account. Um Ornithomorpho? Oh, it's a bird-like ceramic, or it's a ceramic in the shape of a bird of the Moche culture. Characteristics of an owl, I want to say. Um, Possibly tu quiere de Peru. So I with my like high school level Spanish. This is a ceramic in the form of a bird, most likely an owl. Especially a species that is found in like Peru and Chile. Resto de proyecciones. I think it's saying that like the specific like ways that the feathers are depicted kind of imply that it's a specific species. Why am I struggling so much? We could also just Google. We could Google Translate it too. Google Translate. All right, here we go. Here's a translation. Features of an owl, specifically a tucuquere, species widely distributed from Peru to Chile. The rings on its face distinguish it from other species, and the shape of the ears. Wait, there's an owl that has cat ears. That's so cute. Moche culture developed first complex political organizations in the Andes. Oh, they had medals. They had medals too. Cool, cool. I think that talks about repatriation. I want to say. Ah, interesting, interesting. So yeah, here we have a little guy. It's a specific kind of owl. I'm curious now. I want to find out more about this. So you get some like real time research at work. Oh, I see. I see. So it's not cat ears, but like we've seen this before. Like the feathers kind of look like that they're jutting out. Okay, okay, I see. So I guess that's why instead they chose to give it little neko mimi, little little kitty cat ears. That's so cute. We also have some writing here. Artesania Cusco from Cusco. Let's see. Can we copy this? That's a modern marking. A lot of like either collectors or museums will put like their own markings on an object. Modern engraving, a common technique in illicit trafficking. That's another big thing with like museum works, is that like a lot of museums, especially the British Museum, but like the bigger the museum, the more likely this is to happen. But a lot of these works are straight up stolen. So they're looted from like indigenous sites. It's super super common, and it's so common that there is work being done in a lot of major museums to do what's called repatriation, which is basically like trying to identify who this artwork belongs to and giving it back to them. But there's a lot of kind of complex stuff with that, because it's like, oh, let's say that this is a work from thousands of years ago. Like, who do we give it back to, right? What if the descendant culture like has split off into a whole bunch of different cultures, or what if it just doesn't exist anymore? who receives this artwork. Because, best case scenario, you want to give it to a specific community or even a specific tribe. But if they don't exist, do you just give it to like the government of that country? And if so, like, is that the move? Is that a good move, right? Are they actually going to take care of this piece? Stuff like that. So best case scenario, you give it to a certain community, and who cares if they use it properly? Who cares if they just destroy it? At least it's back home, right? But when it comes to like governments, like other like governments that like have their own, I don't know, like their own ulterior motives, that's when it gets kind of like, oh, I don't know. And there are a couple of cases where a museum will try to repatriate an object, and the original and the community or the tribe or what have you, they'll be like, we don't really want it anymore. like, like you can have it. It's cool that other people are learning about our culture, but it's a mix and it's a mishmash. You can't always assume that a lot of cultures are going to be chill with that. So let's see. Even engrave them with elements or labels that confuse an original piece with a modern reproduction. To this end, governments have encouraged the use of seals or stamps that can mark fresh clay and thus differentiate modern artisanal production from trafficking in pre-Hispanic pieces. The absence of seals of authenticity leads to discrimination against a piece like this and its confiscation. So this is saying that like there's no seals or anything like this, so now there's a lot of question as to whether this is even ancient or not, or whether it's really like, because that's another big thing in the museum world or in like the art history world is like people know where the money goes. So if you have like a struggling community that really needs money, sometimes they'll just make fakes. They'll make fakes and pass it off as ancient stuff. And it's very easy to be like, oh, well, those are bad people, right? Like, well, those are bad people because they're trying to fool us, right? But arguably, like, if that's where they know the money is, and this is like a struggling culture, like as a result of colonialism, it gets a little murky. And the reason why I bring that up is because I remember being at like a conference one time and talking to people and being like, oh, we don't always want to assume that people who make these fakes are doing it like specifically to like trick people and just for the money. And even if they are doing it for the money, maybe it's because they're struggling, or maybe because like, they're a victim of colonialism, blah, blah, blah. And I remember like a lot of people were understanding, but there was one person, and I thought it was kind of funny that it was the one British person there too, that was like, no, I think we can agree that these are bad people. And I'm like, okay, brother. So, yeah, the one guy. Exactly. I don't know if I said hello, Owen, when you said cat ears, but hello. Yes, look at the owl. He got the little Nekomimi. He got the little cat ears. But yeah, that's just my spiel with a lot of stuff happening in the in the museum world. So cute, so ancient. Yeah. I like the little toes. Like, I like the little feetsies. Like they're so cute, and the little cat ears. And then so like I said, this is another stirrup vessel. It's a little different shape, but it still has like multiple openings. I actually don't know the reason why they do that. It probably has a specific reason, like maybe water just flows better, right? That's another thing is I'm assuming that it's water or alcohol, but you said syrup, Owen, and now I'm wondering like, oh, what if they had like other things that aren't as like viscous or like flowy as water? What if it's like, yeah, what if it's like syrup, Well, actually, this is a pretty long thingy, a pretty long neck, so I actually don't know, but maybe stuff with like shorter ones. But out of its beak, you could pour syrup out. Oh yeah, like can you imagine like, a little teapot, short and stout? You could just pour it out of his beak. That'd be so cute. Blood. Blood. That's another thing I encounter a lot with like museum work, is especially when it comes to like Mesoamerican stuff. Like I'm not saying that this is what you're saying. I know you're also like just spitting out ideas. But there are times where I'll visit a school and talk about like Maya Aztec stuff, and they'll be like, "Oh, can you tell us more about the human sacrifices?" And it's like, those cultures were more than human sacrifices. Like they had a really cool calendar system too, and it's because of stuff like Apocalypto that people are like, "No, just human sacrifices." But yeah, And also, yeah, not implying that that's what you were saying, Owen, but yeah, like, what if it had blood? It just reminded me of it. I also like the background. They have like the little background here. So Orientalism, basically, basically. What was I gonna say? Oh, there might be a specific reason why this is like this. But let me see if I can find that video again. So, water whistle. I think it's Peruvian vessels. It's like a specific video. So did you guys know that there are here we go. Oh, this is specifically Inca. So let me show you guys a video. Here we go. See, it sounds like a wolf. What he's doing is there's water in each of these. And the way that that they're shaped, this goes into form, right? This goes into like shape and form. The way that they're shaped allows it so that whenever he moves water in and out of like some of the openings, or when he like pours it out, it makes a sound, and these sounds are really convincing. I think these are recreations. These are like modern recreations. Excuse me. Isn't that cool? I like the owl one. I love that one a lot. I love the owl one. There's a video. I think it's this one actually. Like they actually I think they have a recreation. He actually like splits it in half to show you how it does that. If you guys want to see that video, well, here's this one just showing like, and I'll also catch up on chat. I do see your guys' messages. But there's also this one kind of explaining like how it do that. How's it doing that, you know? So let's see. Ancient rubber chicken. Yeah, actually, you could probably say that. You could probably say it's like an ancient. Actually, that kind of puts it into like a really funny context because, like, we use those rubber chickens for humor, right? Can you imagine that, like, people are using this, maybe for ritualistic, maybe for ceremonial stuff. But can you imagine, like, an Inca ancient Peruvian like teenager just like shit posting with it? Like he's like, "Hey, mom, look, watch this," and the mom's like, "It is 3 in the morning." Like, "Hey, ma, mama, mama, ma." Can you imagine like people just like poop posting with it? Have you ever heard of the Aztec death whistle? I have. There is something called an ocarina. Let me see if, well, you guys know what ocarina is, like Ocarina of Time, right? There is something similar. Yeah, the Aztec death whistles. We can go into it. Oh, I know, ad break. Okay, I'll go to BRB screen and take a sippy. We'll be back. Okay, we back. We're back. Play the Aztec death whistle during every ad breaks. Oh no. Well, The thing with those Aztec death whistles is that, like, of course, like I mentioned before, right? That like a lot of times when it comes to like Aztec Maya culture, a lot of people will default to talking about stuff like, ritual sacrifice and human sacrifice. One of the things with that is that, like, yes, death and sacrifice did play a very important part in those cultures, but a lot of it was also heavily exaggerated by Europeans, by like the European colonizers and stuff, mostly to kind of show like, oh yeah, we have to civilize the barbarians, we have to like, um I don't know, stuff like that, like we have to civilize them because look, they're eating each other and they're sacrificing each other and blah blah blah. And it's like, yes, there was an aspect of sacrifice. They were not eating each other though. They're not eating each other. They're not sacrificing so many people that it like decimated. Like there, it was there, but it wasn't as much as the Europeans were saying. And the Aztec death whistle thing kind of goes into that. It is also called the death whistle because I think they found it on a corpse of like I think of someone who was sacrificed. Um but I think it gets a lot of flack for being like, "Oh, when you play it, you're going to die." Stuff like that. Where really it is just like these, it's a musical instrument. Sorry if the white background is kind of a flashbang, but there's these things called like ocarinas, which is also the same as an ocarina, like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but it is an instrument. And they also have really cool shapes. Like look at this little bird ocarina. I think these are like cross sections to show how they make the sounds that they do. I actually have one. I actually have an ocarina, and it's made by an indigenous person, and it's in the shape of a little chihuahua. Maybe I'll show it when I go into hand cam mode, if we go into hand cam mode. But I will also show. This is a cool video. I've watched it before. This guy's blowing on a frog shaped ocarina. Yeah, sorry if that was a little loud, but yeah. They also had practical uses like scaring the crap out of enemies. Yeah, that too, that too. Let's see. Imagine pouring your coffee in the Alpot and it goes hoot hoot. Yeah, can you imagine? Like you just wake up and it's like ooh as you pour your coffee. My grandparents had a little statue of the fat doggo, the clay. I love those little fat doggos. Okay, I want to show you like one of my favorite like things. The Colima dogs. This is one of my favorite like pieces of art of all time. Is it especially this one where they're hugging? Like, or I think they're dancing. I'm actually not entirely sure, but like it's one of my favorites because they're so cute. And then like there's also like these little like fat ones, right? This one with the little corn. They're dancing. That's that's so cute. It's one of those things that like brings a tear to your eye of like just how like it's one of those 3 a.m. thoughts of like, wow, humanity, like despite time and space, will always draw the cutest or will sculpt the cutest stuff ever. Like two dogs dancing. Like two fat dogs dancing. It's one of those like, wow, humanity is so relatable. This one, I like this one too. Look, he has a little mask. He's hiding. What's he hiding? My ocarina looks like this. I'll show you guys when I go into hand cam mode. I have one. He has a little corn in his mouth. I actually let me see if I could even play it. It's dusty though. It's dusty. Let me see if it's so dusty, and I have to put my lips on it. Give me a second. I don't know if you can hear it, but oh, there we go. So yeah, see that's that's what an ocarina can sound like, but not what they all sound like. I don't know if you could hear it, but I could also show you when we put on the hand cam. But yeah, we went into a bunch of different. We went on a lot of different tangents, but I'm glad I was able to at least show the Colima dogs. They're so cute. Look at them, they're just dancing. My grandparents had a recreational one in their homes. I'd always pet it when I walked by. I love that. I love that so much. Okay, let's go back. So yeah, we were looking at this one. There's a whole bunch of other mochi. All you have to do if you want to find some of these is go to Sketchfab and just type in like mochi, and you just get like a whole bunch. I don't think we'll have enough time to like look at all of them, of course, but you could just see like a whole bunch of different like really cool sculptures. Um, one last one, or maybe we'll have time to also look at the Gundam one, but I also wanted to show off this one because a lot of the ones that we looked at before are like very round. These shapes, very round, very friend shaped, very cute. And then we also have this little guy, an alebrije, in the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. Now this is made out of paper mache, I want to say. Let's actually zoom down. Dragon figure sculpted in paper mache, painted in vivid color and design. So yeah, alebrije, they are actually I'm also not super well versed in these, but these are basically like lots of fantasy creatures. Very imaginative, made out of paper mache, and I think they come from a very specific location in Mexico because sometimes it's very easy to be like, "Oh yeah, these are like Mexican figures," but I think it comes from like a very specific place. I don't know if it's like Oaxaca or like something like that. Oh, there we go. Cielo. Cielo has an alebrije. Wait, that's so cool. So alebrije are actually guardians. Ah, would you say that the depiction of alebrije in Coco is that accurate? Like, they're kind of like these guardian figures. They're carved out of wood. I always thought they were paper mache. I saw a video of them like being made mostly with paper mache, unless there's like different types. But yeah, feel free. Please educate me. Please teach me, tell me more. But only whatever you're comfortable with sharing. But yeah, I also wanted to just show. Oh, you know what? Let me share the 3D model with you guys. Here we go. Yeah, they're usually vibrantly painted. Yeah. I kind of wanted to highlight like, we saw the little round guys, right? This one has a lot of like spikes and like spines and like claws and stuff. And I think it's the what's it called? It's the medium that lets people do that, because if you were to try and get like clay, because ceramics are basically clay, it's wet clay. You can make things like spikes, but then you also have to. It's kind of like the whole thing with like the contrapposto conversation, where it's like you're gonna be afraid that you have to be aware that those spikes and those, like, if you were to make this out of ceramic, it might fall off, it might snap off very easily. Whereas with something like paper mache or wood, it's a little bit more stable, and also like it might not always be in a place where like it can snap off as easily. So let's see what Cielo said. The alebrije I have at home right now has our little turtles, also a snail. I think my mom bought me back in my childhood home. I have a bright blue Pegasus. That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, they're like these really cool fantasy creatures. Like here you could see, like with this one in particular, you could see like what looks like a turtle shell, but then it also has like this really spiky tail, kind of like a dragon. It has these back spines, kind of like a lizard or a dinosaur. You have these claws over here. You have the horns of what kind of looks like a cow or some kind of bovine. It has a forked tongue like a snake. It has these big old fangs, and like um the nose even juts out kind of like a rhinoceros beetle, and then you have like these spines over here, which like they could look like octopus tentacles, or they could be like, those lizards that like have a frill. It could be like that. And then Cielo, you posted a picture in the Discord. Let's see. Oh, cute! Is it okay if I show it on stream? Are you okay with that, or do you want me to just have people go over to the Discord to see? These are so cute. I love it. I love it. Cute. Oh, I forgot to put the music back on. Yeah, go for it. Okay, cool. Yeah, look at these ones that Cielo is sharing. Little snail. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is super vivid actually, the coloration. And you said these ones are made out of wood? Is there like a little bit of paper mache or is it basically like painted wood? I love the eyes on this. Oh, that's so darling. Oh, and look at like the texture here too. The snail turtle wobbles when you tap it. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. I love it. And these ones have like really cool designs too. Like look at this one in the background. Oh, cute. Cute, cute. No, these are definitely paper mache, but the Pegasus was wood. Ah, I see. So some can be made with paper mache, some of them are wood. I see, I see. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, there you go. There's like some examples of like how stuff like paper mache and wood, like it can lend themselves into. Actually, let's look back because, like I said, if we think that if we tried to recreate something like the snail in ceramic, you probably could, but you also have to be careful that like these this part of the snail, it might snap off. Whereas like with wood or with paper mache, like it would be a little bit more stable just cuz that's how the medium is. I have a wooden figure from the Philippines, but it's the guy in the barrel. I know what that one is. When you pull the guy out of the barrel, something pops out. But yeah, so that's the alebrije. And then really quickly, we can also look at, we're looking at examples from different cultures from the past and the present. Like this is the past, present. We also have another one from the present. Gundam. There we go. And this one's animated too. Look at that. Because I was looking for examples of 3D models that show the different shapes, right? We were talking about circles and like sharp edges and stuff. This one is more square, right? Like, look at that. You do see a lot of like square figures here too, right? Giving off that feeling of like stability. And the cool thing too with like Gunpla is with like these Gundam figures is that like you assemble them for the most part. So like you would assemble like these little like leg parts over here. Any part that kind of like juts out, this would be its own piece, and you snap it together. This would be its own piece, and you snap it together. So, that's another way that like even if you don't consider yourself an artist, like an artisan or like someone who goes into crafts, you also think about stuff like form, um, and like the material also lends itself to like what shapes it can be. What is it? Good morning, George. Good morning, George. Good night, George. Gundam. Yeah, we're looking at forms today. So we looked at some ceramics, and then we looked at some paper mache alebrije, and now we're kind of not really ending off because I do want to do like a little bit of hand cam, just just a little bit as a treat. But here, like the plastic also lends itself to like what kind of shapes and forms you can make, right? Now we have like a little bit more technology, like stuff like 3D printing, for example. Now you can make things. Now you don't really have to think too much about the limitations of like, what are some of the limitations with like ceramic or making something out of stone, making something out of clay, making something out of paper mache. With something like plastic or with whatever the material is for like 3D printing, you don't have to worry about those things as much. But also I could be talking out of my butt. I don't know if there probably are a lot of limitations, but I was also gonna say the one big thing is that plastic, of course, isn't great for the environment. So that's kind of like the big but in the equation here. But if any of you guys have any other kind of experience with like either 3D printing or making like stuff like this, feel free to like chime in and correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, just wanted to show that one off. I don't remember if I put this in the chat. Let's go ahead and put that in the chat. There you go. But otherwise, where else was I going from here? Yeah, okay, let's do this. Hand cam time. So, we could look at a live example of making 3D art. Like I said, I'm a 3D art amateur, but give me a second. Let me see if I can actually play an ad while I set up my hand cam because I gotta move stuff around. I gotta put my third screen away and all that. So, give me a hot second. I'm gonna go on the BRB screen. I'm gonna see if I can play an ad right now. Just so you guys have something to look at while I do this. Okay, yeah, let's play an ad. And then once I set up my hand cam, we'll be right back. Okay, cool. A minute is all I needed to set things up. So let's go back to the main screen. Woo! Let me put my browser away. And then bring out the projector. There we go. Hello, everyone. Oh, I can see my mic. I know. Cool. So, oh yeah, as promised, here is this is the ocarina. This is my ocarina. See the the music comes out of his butt. But yeah, it's a little doggy. He's a little corn. You know, he's got some corn in his mouth. The booty. So this is where you blow into. You blow into the tail, and then you like play with the tune by covering up these holes. I'll see if I could do it again right now. You see a little bit of my mic. Dang, this is hard. Okay. I have to find like the right like placement. Or what if I do this? Yeah, clearly I'm not an expert, but you know, that's just a little example of a little ocarina dog. My dad has an ocarina shaped as a little bird. That's adorable. I love that. I think one of my old bosses had one that's shaped like a duck. And it didn't quite sound like a duck, but it was cute. It was cute. Kiss the doggo? Kiss the doggo? Okay, little smooch. See, same I do that with Schnackery all the time. He hates it. Okay, so what I wanted to do is just a little sample of like what I mean by like using material to like kind of influence like how form works. I am not an expert with 3D art. I do use this at work, but I'm not the best at it. So I'm gonna be using a little bit of air dry clay that I clearly stole from work, by the way. Hopefully this hasn't dried out, because that's one thing is that this does dry out even when it's sealed. So here we go. Alright, it didn't dry out. Woo! It's actually still very, like, pliable. So yeah, you can imagine, how much grief I get with giving this kind of material to kids at work. Free art supplies, right? Exactly. Actually, I'm gonna keep the wrapper here. Schnackery, I'm making art at the moment. Aw, Schnackery wants attention. We're gonna keep this here, just as like a surface to work on. Give me a second. So the cool thing about this, okay, so this is definitely not like clay. Or at least that's what my colleagues have told me. I've never worked with clay. I don't know if you guys have ever worked with clay. Give me the toy, mother. Schneckery, probably. But just as a little demo of like things that you could do with it. I'm trying to like remember what we usually tell the kids. So like when it comes to like making something, let's say that I want to make myself a little bear, right? Um this is what a lot of kids usually do is they get like a one single piece of clay and then they try to like mold it into like, okay, that's the head, get the ears, do something like that. They usually try to like mold it out of like one piece and it doesn't always turn out great. So what I usually recommend the kids do is you break it up into different pieces. That way you have like a piece for the head. You could roll it into a circle like this. See, you got a little circle. And then I could split this into making little ears. So I could roll that. Here's what I like to do to make like little animal ears. I have like a little I don't know what you would call this, like a little orb. I pinch it with my fingers and you have yourselves a little bear ear. Do it again with this piece. So this is really, if you guys have like any younger siblings and or nephews, nieces, or like just younger relatives and you want something that's like fairly safe for them to use to like learn a little bit more about like 3D art making, I would recommend Model Magic. Um it's pretty easy to use. It's not messy as you can see, unlike actual clay, but there are some limitations. Like when it comes to like the slightest touch will change the form, whereas I think with actual clay you can like it, there's a little bit more give into it. Like you have to like try to actually like make a mark into it. If I want to make some eyes, let me get a pencil. Just use a pencil. Just boop, boop, boop. This is turning more into a cat now that I see it. I'm actually going to dim the lights a little bit, especially because the foil in like this is like super duper reflective. But there we go. You can do something like that. You can make a body. So I usually default to like nice friend shaped, like round shapes. Let's do that for the body. Oh no, you see, this is what I mean, like the slightest touch, and I'm already squishing into the body too much. No. Well, actually, let me show you guys another thing. One cool thing that you could do with this clay. I'm actually gonna set aside this. Wait, Vivinka, I literally have a huge alebrije. Ooh, if you're down to share a picture of it, feel free. Feel free. I'm in the process of just like playing with this clay. So no rush at all. Okay, let me show you guys what I got. I got some cool brush tip markers. Also stolen from work. Woo! Move my chair a little. You can actually use any kind of markers with this. Like you can also use like these like Crayola ones. The reason why I have so many art supplies, by the way, is because of work. Like I have to be able to like demonstrate some of these art projects, so it's good to have a lot of these on hand. But yeah, let's say that I want to yeah, let's make it purple cuz I'm kind of like a purplish kind of bear. Posted it in the Discord if you're interested. Yeah, let's take a look. Yo, that's amazing. Okay, let me go to the browser. And put away the webcam, and then let's share the other browser. It's this one. There we go. This is the other one that Cielo has. That's awesome. This is the wooden one, right? Like the is this a Pegasus? This has so many cool colors in it. This one is new. I totally forgot about it. It's cool though. I love it. Look at the wings. The wings especially are really cool. Like you have like this tummy part over here. You could zoom in a little bit. The wings are super cool. The little polka dots, the little tummy tums. I love it. So cool. It's a cat with wings. I thought it was a bird at 1st. Oh, it is a kitty cat. The Pegasus is still in my child. Ah, I see. I see. Yeah, it's a kitty with wings. It's wooden mobile. Oh, cool. I love it. Yeah, you can see the little kitty cat like ears. That is so cool. I love it. And the little like spots of color here too. That's so cool to just have it like hanging out, like quite literally like hanging out, like hanging from the ceiling. I love it. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. And go ahead and put the webcam back on. Very cool. Thanks again for sharing that. That's so cool. What was I doing? Oh yeah. I want to show you guys how to color this. It hangs in my living room. They're good luck, basically your guardians. That's awesome. See, that's why I really like just hearing from folks that have a personal connection to some of these art forms, right? Because there's stuff that you could read about from Google or from various like scholarly resources, but I feel like it's the best to hear it straight from people that like have a personal connection. So thank you so much for being down to share that, Cielo. But yeah, so one thing that you could do is you could add some texture. Look at the cap for this. You do this, add some texture, do that. But you can also, because this is white, you can also color it. And I like the brush tip because it just spreads out a lot of colors. There's one thing that kids will do where they will just like stab it and we're like, first of all, don't do that. But also that doesn't like transfer color as well as just using the brush part of the brush tip markers. So there's that. You could leave it like this. It will get your fingers messy. Or you could do this. You could like fold it in. You could fold it into itself, and it's actually going to make like a really cool like marbling effect. It's a little hard to see because the light is like very bright, but it's not auto zooming because I specifically didn't want my camera to auto zoom. This is making me think of making empanadas. I feel like having that kind of experience too can like create some really cool sculptures because I actually don't have a lot of experience with making empanadas, but I have made little like like little little dumpling like things here. That looks terrible, but like you know what I mean. You can make little like mock food with this medium perfectly well. You can also mix colors together, but I kind of like leaving it in this like kind of marble effect. I think it's really cool. Another thing that I like to do is make little flowers. This is turning less into a lesson and more into like this is what I like to do when I have this medium. So it kind of turned into like a traditional art stream. Yeah, so if you have clay like this, get a good amount, and then just split it multiple times. So I split it into two, right? Split both into two. That'll give you four, and then split all four of them. That'll get you 8 pieces, right? Eh. I think you could even go one more if you want to like get a total of 16 pieces. So basically we're just splitting this one piece of clay into like multiple pieces. What is this raunchy sounding music? As if I didn't put the artist on here. There you go. I don't know how to make empanadas, but I was thinking about learning how to make them before stream. Ooh, that'd be good. There's this well actually I don't know if it might be a chain that's very local. I might accidentally dox myself, but there is a place near our area that has empanadas, including vegan empanadas. They're really good. I'll tell you more about it off stream, Mega Bronson. So you have 16 pieces now. Next thing that you could do is flatten each piece with your thumb like that. And it's okay if there's a little bump. You rotate it like this. And then with each piece, you just keep on rolling it, flattening it, and adding it. And I think eventually you'll be able to guess what it is that I'm making here. So roll it, flatten it with your thumb, add it to the piece so it overlaps. Roll it, flatten it, add it to the piece. You can even twist the base of it. And we're getting started with making a little flower. A little flower. So here's another petal. Overlap it. There you go. It's a little bit of a repetitive process, but it's also kind of nice and calming to do. It's a nice little repetitive thing to do if you guys like have activities that you like doing that kind of either help you chill out or decompress. For me, it's crochet. But you can also play with clay in this way as well. And the cool thing about Model Magic is it's a Crayola product, which that might not be as cool as as I'm saying, but because it's a corporation. But that means it's like pretty available in certain parts of like depends on like where you are, but if you're in Bear America and you have like a Walmart or something nearby, it'll probably, or like an art store like a Michaels or a, I don't know what any other art stores. Most likely they'll have Model Magic. So it's a nice little if you have the bandwidth for some little art projects. That is an option. All right, last one. Oh no, there's bugs in here. Oh no. Oh no. There's a spider in here. All right, so I don't know if I did quite as good of a job, but it's a little flower. It's hard to see without the zoom in, but yeah. So that's one little project that you could do. And yeah, so one reason why I wanted to do this hand cam, other than just being more like engaging in terms of like an art lesson stream or art analysis stream, is to also show you that like different media or mediums can like lend themselves to different things. So like with making oh, here's one thing. I think last thing that I'll go over before we kind of start to wrap it up is like for example, let's say that I ask a student to create an animal. Here's an example of like how medium, like the medium can like have its limitations. Oh, there's fireworks outside. I can already hear it. I guess it's more reasonable to hear it now as opposed to like we would be hearing it like as far as like a couple weeks back, and it's like, brother, it's not even July yet. But I guess we're 2 days away from my Freedom's Day, so let's say that a student wants to make a flamingo. So here's the body of the flamingo, right? Let's make a neck. All right, you have a neck. America! F yeah! See, okay, you have like kind of a flamingo like form. I think they have curved beaks, so there you go. So you have like the head, you have the body, You have the legs. All right, let's attach the legs to the little flamingo body. All right, that's kind of just like a really basic attempt at it. So we have like, you know what? This looks a little bit more like an ostrich, but let's go with that. So you have your little animal, but guess what? Will it be able to stand? Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no, because like it just doesn't have a big enough base for it to really stand on. So that's like an example of like the limitations of each medium. You could theoretically like hold it upright like this, like hold it up and then wait for it to dry. The only thing is it takes a little like it takes about like 24 hours for this kind of clay to completely dry. Needs a little tree, exactly. So do you guys remember when we were looking at that Greek statue? It had a little branch next to it. So you could do that. You could like have a little tree right next to it. Let's do this. I'm gonna repurpose the flower into like a tree. I think you can also make a platform underneath the flamingo, right, or the ostrich. You know, you could do that, but ultimately like model magic is a little bit limited in that way. So, you know, you can have a little tree like that. But in the end, like it is gonna be a little bit flimsy, so especially when it comes to like giving this material to kids, they're gonna get frustrated. So you know, just something to think about when handling this. It's a pretty cool material, but you know, each medium has its strengths and has its weaknesses, and now it's squished. So yeah, this might have just been an excuse for me to do, you know, traditional art on stream because I also feel like I haven't done that recently. But that's just a little intro to model magic. Maybe I'll make a little something something. Eh. So yeah, that's model magic. Let me go ahead and put my stuff away. And then we'll actually finish off. We're actually really close to finishing off soon. How long have I been going? Just 2 hours? Man. Okay, let's go ahead and put the hand cam away. Let's go ahead and put the browser back. If I can find it, it's this one, right? Okay. Eek. Gotta fix it. Gotta fix it. Oh, jeez. I don't know if you guys can hear the fireworks, but they're getting loud. You know what? I need to set up my third screen again. So give me a second. It should just be about a minute. Okay. So let me just put OBS on my third screen. Same with the throw-in system. Alright, and we're back. Alright, so yeah, that was just a good look at like, you know, mediums and stuff. And this is pretty much the last thing that I'm gonna really go into, and then we're pretty much done for the day. So, 3D and 2D space. So we talked a lot about 3D art, but another way to think of form is thinking about how to make stuff that is 2D look 3D. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. However, all of those things go into kind of like other sections of art that we will eventually cover. So for example, perspective and shading and highlights, that's all gonna be like in the, I think, one of the next installments. I think the next one is actually gonna go into like shading, value, that kind of stuff. Um Perspective is gonna go into when we talk about space. And then other things, so like color and texture, those are other things that we're going to be talking about in future installments of the series. So I also put in this cute GIF because thinking about it, live 2D, like, you know, I'm a PNGTuber, where a lot of us here are big fans of VTubers, right? That counts as making something that's 2D look 3D. And it's basically like, it still kind of eludes me how riggers do this. Like Big Ham and like Felucia. I hate VTubers. Nah, never watch them. They seem kind of cringe, you know. Nah, just kidding, just kidding. But yeah, so like that, I think that's a really good example of like making something look 3D even though it's actually 2D. If you guys see, like, I think Big Ham was, I don't know if she's still streaming, but she was doing a rigging commission for someone, and then she's also the mama of, I think a lot of you might know, Charlie, also known as Zawapilled. I think Big Ham in particular does a really good job of making it look 3D. And I think it's because I think she actually uses 3D models in her process. She uses it as kind of a reference to see how like the heads turn and stuff. She is, but she's playing something else now. Ah, I see, I see. Cool, cool, cool. But yeah, she's a good example, but there's a lot of like people who do rigging that they do a really good job, and I don't quite know how to go into the specifics of it, but it's basically kind of an illusion of squishing and stretching. Like if you see this GIF over here of I'm a fake fan. Who is this? This isn't Kanata, right? It's obviously a Hololive member, right? Because it says Cover Corp. I'm so fake. I only know Hollow Stars and I only know the EN girls. I should have picked Suisei because there were so many options here. There were so many options that I was just like, I'm just gonna pick the first one. Wait, you guys want to see something? You guys want to see something? Okay, insert image GIF stickers. We could put another person in here. We could put someone else in there. Grandpa jump scare. Grandpa jump scare. There we go. Oh, look at him. He's just as beautiful as the day we lost him. um Oh, it's Aqua. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's Aqua. I googled it. He's so beautiful I died. He's so beautiful that he died. HDTQW5, hello, hello, hello. But yeah, so you know, if you look at how he's moving, it's still 2D, but no, Cielo, he's so beautiful. It's kind of an illusion how it looks 3D because it's like when he moves his face over here to the right side, there the rigging person actually like squished the face in a way that just plays around with perspective. Same with the eyes and the mouth and all of that. So I think Live to Do is actually an excellent, excellent demonstration of like form and just making something that's 2D look 3D. So yeah, Grandpa, Grandpa here, I miss him. I miss him. But yeah, we're also gonna go into stuff like that in future installments. So yeah, otherwise that's pretty much it in terms of form. We talked about line, shape, and form, and I think next time we'll talk about. I already forgot what's next on the schedule. I'm actually trying to make these like bi-weekly, as in like every 2 weeks. So the next one is gonna talk about value, which is basically like shading, highlights, that kind of stuff. So if you guys have any artists that you feel does shading and highlights like really, really well or rendering really well, do let me know. I'm gonna be making the presentation for that probably either next week or the week after. I did this 2 days ago. I started this 2 days ago, so sometimes I do procrastinate, but you know, we'll do that. And then 2 weeks later, we're gonna talk about color. 2 weeks after that is texture, and 2 weeks after that is space. So yeah. Um, I hope this is helpful in terms of now you guys can think about stuff like form, medium, that kind of stuff whenever you look at art. Whenever we do like our art appreciation, that's something that we can also point out if you so please. But yeah, that is today's lesson, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, um, yeah, I'll also post this whole presentation and some of the resources in the Discord as well as on Twitter. But that's pretty much it for me. Um, we were gonna go to the gym, me and Beans, but we also opted for we're gonna actually try out Ring Fit. I've actually tried it out before for the Switch. We're gonna do Ring Fit. I'm not able to stream it because technically I can. I do have a capture card, but it's just so many wires. It's just a lot. So I don't know if I'll ever stream Ring Fit, but we're gonna be working out now. So while I go sweat, let's mosh. Let's mosh first, and then we'll raid into someone, and then we'll go from there. So let's see what is pretty apt considering that we oh okay. Rosa Versailles, but metal. I just saw it. Okay, I posted it on my Discord. Let me open up the pit. Oh, you got your sticker, George. Get your sticker. Here we go. Ah! Wait. Okay, in celebration of the announcement that Rosa Versailles is getting open up the pit. In celebration of Rosa Versailles, I found out that Falcone, this person that does like metal covers, they did one of the opening of Rosa Versailles. So that's what we're moshing to. You're already opening up the pit. Wait, let me catch up on chat, and then we mosh. Ring Fit Poggers. My friend did DDR and VR for her cardio to keep in shape. That sounds like an amazing idea. The only thing is that Beans and I live on the second floor of an apartment, and I think the neighbors already hate us, but like we don't want to worsen that. So I would love to do stuff like that. Maybe VR. I think we can do VR, but yeah. George got your sticker. Matthew got his sticker. Whitehide threw things at me. Okay, and so did Mega Bronson. Okay, guys. For any lurkers or anyone that's new to the mosh pit, just pick an emote and spam it. We learn river dance. So yeah, just pick an emote, spam it. We do have a mosh pit command where your little avatars will fight each other, but there's nothing. It's RNG, so you know it's up to the luck of the draw, the luck of the Irish. So once you hear the music, get to moshing. Let me know if that's too loud or not too loud enough. I love Rosa Versailles. The goat is here. Yeah, HD, HDTQW5, the 3-time champ. Watashi wa. Who won? Oh, Vite Vite won. Let's go. Let's go, little Vite. Let's go. Do we have enough time? We have enough time for another. We have enough time for one more. Let's go. Round 2. Fight. Heaven or hell. What are those Arc System openings? The freaking the doctor gave me 10 months. The clock says 60 seconds. Heaven or hell. Fight. It's not rigged, it's not. It's RNG, it's RNG. Watashi wa bara. I actually don't know the lyrics of this. Barawa, barawa. 美しく。Oh no! No! I didn't mean to! I didn't mean to! It's not rigged, it's not! It's Utsukushi! Oh no! Je t'aime. Je t'aime, Oscar. I love Rose of Versailles. It dropped right on her, I saw it! No! No, I swear it's RNG. You gotta believe me. You just gotta. All right, guys. Let's raid into Big Ham. We were just talking about appreciating people that. Oh wait, it looks. Is she ending? I think she might be ending actually. So no, we were just about to raid her. Just because like I'm looking at the chat and it says good night. Have a great dinner. So let's see if we can raid someone else. Yeah, let's do Nomi. Ham is short for Emil. Yeah, I think we haven't raided into Nomi in a while, so let's go ahead and raid into Nomi. What is she playing? She's playing Wuthering Waves. Woo-wah. She's playing Woo-wah. So go ahead and say hello to Nomi for me. I'm gonna go work out with Ring Fit right now. So alright guys, have a good morning, afternoon, and evening, and I'll see you when I see you. And thanks for tuning into my lessons. I always appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.